quickly they could have gotten this done without needing to modify the launch mount and everything.
Yeah.
But there you can see on the big view there on the center left, I guess. There's like a good 2 rings off there from the propellant load on the liquid oxygen tank.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird load.
Yeah. Watch it be a spin prime.
I mean, it is important. It is important to note that we don't necessarily, we don't get told by SpaceX what a certain test is going to be. We just have seen basically every test. So we go based on experience, and we go based on what we think is going to happen. And we try and be clear when we're speculating versus when we know something, etc. So who knows what sort of testing could occur today? We expected an engine test. It could be something other than that, like a spin prime. It could be a spin prime then an engine test. We could see multiple engine tests. Who knows what we're about to see? That's part of the fun of Starbase. You never know what you're going to see. That's why we call it Texas tank watching. Ninja Decimator, I'm not going to do the sound effect or the cool voice because you're saying I don't know bagels, but thanks for the support. I think the panel's broken. Nope, it works. I'm getting antsy. Should I roll my slow-mo? It can only roll for 7 minutes before I have to roll again. And also maybe it overheats. I think I'm gonna roll it. Here's well, we can't do questions. It might be about to fire. Canon, my kingdom for a 4K 120 FPS camera that does not overheat.
Just put an ice pack. Okay.
I have a little fan dealie that like lives where the fold-out screen folds out from. That does help. It's got like a heatsink on it. It's a dedicated thing for my brand of and model of camera, and yet, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna roll my camera. Space Pope says, "Bless this flappy test." I'm going to let you two speculate wildly about this weird prop load. Ryan, why weird prop load? Thank you, Space Pope.
Yeah. It is kind of an interesting question. Either they're doing a different test, they decided to do a slightly different prop load. They could be in a hold, which would be kind of interesting, or the other thing, the word we shall not say. I don't really know what it is, to be honest, because usually if it were that other thing, we would see the OLM vent on a little bit more or whatnot. So I'm just kind of sitting here waiting. But I think the engine chill pond is kind of dying down too.
Huh.
Huh.
Well, we'll wait and see what's going on. I feel like the detonation suppression system could fire up at any second. I wonder what my heart rate is. I should check my heart rate. 120 beats per minute. That's not good.
That's
I'm
the
sitting
bacon
down.
beat.
It is. And the Red Bull. Desmo Bluefire, thank you for the super. They say, been a long time since I've done a super chat. Always enjoying watching the live coverage. Keep up the great work and go Ship 38. Yeah, I remember seeing your name around a lot. What's up, buddy? Thanks again for the support. Cole says, let's go Ship 38. Yeah, maybe we need some like cheering on. Maybe Ship 38 got a little nervous. And it needs some goading. Chat, goad Ship 38 into into static firing. Maybe that'll work. Surely. AC Gypsy, thanks for the $5 tip. They say NSF is the best. Visit Rusty's for Florida rocket viewing and port views. That's also where we have some of our cameras for Space Coast Live. I have to like will myself to not say Starbase Live. When will we see Starship fly from Florida? How long do you think it'll be until we see Starship fly from Florida, Alex?
Maybe summer of next year. Yeah. Sorry, I'm being distracted. For things that, yeah.
I hear you.
It's related with Starship actually from Florida because there may or may not have been a flyover. So yeah, probably summer of next year. That's my take. Maybe fall if things don't go fully smoothly, right? With testing the pad systems and shipping the vehicles and whatnot. But I think definitely next year we should see. If we don't see a launch next year, I'll be very very depressed. Out of 39A, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I would generally agree with that timeline. It's gonna be so cool. I mean, in the same way that I'm excited for Pad 2 and Starbase, I'm also excited for Starship from Florida. Of course, also Starship version 3. There's a lot to look forward to, especially once we start getting like tanking tests and HLS starships. Here's a question from someone named Jack Beyer. I don't know who this Yahoo is. Do you think they'll launch any HLS stuff from Starbase, or do you think they'll send all of that to Florida? Because we still haven't seen any real HLS hardware except for that one random nose cone recently and that one random nose cone forever ago in like the SN5 and 6 era. So by the time Florida comes online, if it's middle of next year, would they even need to do any HLS Starship stuff from Starbase, or would they just barge it all over to Florida? That would kind of be a bummer, at least for Starbase people.
Before we get into that, Jack, looks like the methane frost has definitely gone down, or basically gone, which means they detanked that. So yeah,
We are on a board.
this was an abort.
We need more Bort license plates. I knew that would get a laugh from Alex. I knew it. No, my
Bort?
son is also named Bort. I can't hear the word abort and not think of that Simpsons joke. I just can't. License plates. Well, there is 13 more hours of closure today?
Yeah, 13 hours. So
Yeah.
Whee!
who wants to stay around for 13 hours?
Detank and
Me.
recycle.
Me. We have a lot of good questions still, actually, that I was like hesitant to ask because we were in the thick of it. But if this is indeed an abort and they're detanking that methane, then no static fire. Something was seen that was not optimal, and it sounds like my camera just overheated. Alex, say something.
Well, if it overheated, again, ice packs or fans or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. We'll see what happened. Normally we can guess what happened if we see certain types of work, just like we saw overnight. You know, them working on the connections to the ship and things like that. Those makeshift connections, if you will, that they did to be able to sort of bypass the booster lines and all that, so that they can fuel the ship. So yeah, we'll see what happens once they, because obviously if it wasn't on a board, we'll see if they have to go out to the pad or if it's something that they can, you know, fix remotely, but they need to detank or something like that. Sometimes that happens, right? But yeah, we'll see what kind of degree of work they need to do on this. If it's a lot of work, I don't know about a test later today, even if it's like 13 hours from now. They still need to detank this, which might take another hour or so. They will have to open the road, get out to the pad. Not fully open it, but you know what I mean, right? Like go through the roadblock, get to the launch pad, get their teams out there, and depending on how big of a of work they need to do, maybe they also need to completely sort of save the tank farm as well instead of having just a red team of sorts. So we'll see what kind of work they need to do to fix whatever happened here. Again, it depends. It might be some kind of little thing that they can solve remotely. Maybe they need to.
بس فرق اندرين جاهزي وانت اقرا
My thinking is the other end of the whole thing, where it's like, you know, they need a lot of work and things like that. Then we may not see another test until next week, maybe on Monday. We'll see what happens. Right now, they don't have another another road closure, as far as I know, right, Ryan?
No,
For
there
testing, I
is.
mean.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't. There's no other beach closure other than the one for today, so I mean,
They're
we'll see
able
what
to
they
close
do.
the beach on Saturday, right?
In
It's not like
theory,
they can't,
Theory.
in
but
theory,
they only get
go in
so
theory.
many Saturday closures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, there's a bunch more time in the window, so we're gonna keep watching and seeing what happens. I get the feeling, especially without an additional closure, at least not yet, that they really wanted to get this done today. So I wouldn't be surprised if they drain all this back and then try and recycle and go again. It's not impossible for them to do, so we will see what happens. But I need to go do camera things for a few minutes. I think I have someone named Chris Bergen here to cover for me while I go do
Hello,
camera
I've
thing.
heard of him. Yeah, I've heard of him, Jack. Yeah, go and do your thingies with your batteries and what have you.
NASA Spaceflight Actual, founder of
no,
NSF, the
no,
one,
no,
the
no,
only, the
no.
Bergenator.
No,
All right, I'll be
I'm
right back.
like in reserve. I'm like the person to bring off the bench if like losing 3-0 and they think they will give us some experience. Oh dear. So yeah, static fire attempt aborted. It seems. Are we seeing detanking, Ryan?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's detanking.
Yes, Chris, we are.
Sorry. It was. They pretty much all the methane frost is gone, and the LOX frost is definitely going down. So they are detanking. In order to recycle, they would have to completely detank the vehicle, depress the vehicle, and then they would have to re-chill down all the lines to make sure they get to the right temperature again, and then reload the ship, which all in all could take in the realm of a couple of hours. But we don't know what the problem was to why they aborted. We don't know. So
That's a good point.
yeah. Sorry,
It's
go
a
ahead.
good point. It's fine because you were answering the question I was asking. It's for a context for people maybe joining. I put out a post for milestones like propeller loading and the abort, and that's when you get people clicking on a link to come through and find out what's going on. So I'd like to have us talking about why and what could happen next for the people basically just popping in right now to wonder what's going on. And the thing I would say is what you brought up earlier. What if they have to send people out to the pad? And that could be a case of it's got a window to recycle. There's plenty of time in the window to recycle, but we don't know what's potentially needs repairing. It might be something where they have to take it overnight, replace a hose, something like that. So it could be the end of the day. Or it could be a quick recycle without even people going to the pads. So we'll keep an eye on the roadblock as well, won't we?
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on the roadblocks, see if there's red teams lining up to go. But usually in this kind of case, they'll want to fully detank the vehicle, and then depress to safe it before they would send the red team out there, because you don't really want to send them out there with a bunch of liquid oxygen inside of a vehicle, especially a vehicle that's not at flight pressure, but it's definitely at pressure in the tanks. It's not exactly safe. It is stable, of course. I mean, this thing is designed to do that, but you don't want to really risk people to do that. So they're going to want to safe the vehicle, and then they'll send people out there. The question is whether or not they keep the road closed while they do that to keep the tank farm chilled down, or they open the road entirely, open the beach, and they're done for the day. So that's kind of something we'll just have to wait and watch for.
That's good, though. That's good context because we'll know if they're finished for the day when they start opening the whole place out and let the beach open as well, because they're not going to do a recycle on the same day if they open the beach. That'll be the way to do it, won't it? So that's a good indicator as well. That's interesting knowledge for people wondering how we know these things. There are public notifications that allow us to really understand if they're done for the day, for example. The other thing is the long window. Alex, I've had this question quite a few times from people just randomly in the Discord and what have you. Do they absolutely need to do both a 6-engine and a single-engine test? Or could they do a 6-engine test and say, that's good enough for me, and send it back to the production site?
Well, I mean, I think it was ship 34, was it, right? where they skipped the single engine test, even though the others did the single engine test. So like, they could just decide to not do
Mhm.
it, right? It's
Yeah.
more of a, it was 34, right? For
Yeah, it was
flight 8.
34. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
34. Did the 60 engine, 60-second
60 second.
yeah, 60-second static fire over at Massey's. That was the first time they
Yeah.
did that long duration one. So yeah.
And look, that one, flight 8 also included a single engine relight test, right? During the coast phase. So like, obviously they never got to that point, but it was in the plan, right? So just because they don't do it on this ship, if they decide to not do it, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen either during flight as well, right? That it's just good to have kind of test. Like if they can get it done, they probably will like that kind of extra data. But as we've seen again with ship 34, they can just decide to not do it if they think that going straight to 6 engines is quicker. And today the kind of propellant load that they had was looking pretty much like they were just going to be doing a 6 engine static fire test. They loaded pretty much like almost the entirety of the liquid oxygen tank, just 2 rings short of having a full tank of liquid oxygen. So like 80% load, I guess, or 75%, give or take. But yeah, so we'll see what they do going forward. As you mentioned, Chris, could be something quick, may be able to recycle within the next couple of hours. Maybe it's something that they actually need teams out there and more time to repair and things like that. Maybe they try later today in the evening. Who knows? But that's sort of the status where we are right now, where it's like, what are they gonna do? We don't know.
Yeah, just reading chat again. This whole static fire requirement before a flight is something that we're used to now with Starship. It's something they still do with Falcon 9 with new boosters, for example, at McGregor. They'll fire them at McGregor. You just don't see them do it at launch site. I think they still do the occasional static fire for big flagship missions, don't they, right? Where they do want to just test the engines out. It's very rare, though, these days. Are we going to get closer to an era with Block 3 where after, say, 5 successful Block 3 flights, which we all hope for, they go, you know what? We don't really need to focus too much on static fires unless it's the first flight. Maybe something like that. Can you see a path forward? Because this is a rapidly reusable launch vehicle they're looking for, and static fires take up a bit of that reusability turnaround.
Yeah, I think the one reason why, especially they do it for Falcon Heavy, is because it doesn't fly a lot. So when they do Falcon Heavy, they need to retest all the GSE. Because when they do it, they have to modify the transporter erector and everything, and they basically add in 4 QDs for the other two side cores, and they need to test all those systems and everything. So that's one of the reasons why they static fire Falcon Heavy, is to test everything again. In terms of Starship, the first built ship will always do a static fire like a Falcon 9 does. I don't think that'll ever change. It's a good verification of not only the vehicle itself, but the engines and everything else. And it's a good way to keep your testing and your ground systems working if you use them. For those who do Delta 4 Heavy, it was used so little they had numerous amount of GSE problems anytime they tried to fly, is because mechanical things don't like to sit around and do nothing for a while. It's the same for planes. If a plane sits for a while, it tends to just stop working in some ways. It does. Same like cars and whatnot. I expect eventually they won't static fire ships or boosters after flights. I don't know how long we are away from that, but eventually it'll happen.
Yeah, that would be the natural progression if they want this vehicle to be launching at the cadence that they portrayed, especially in the SpaceX videos and Elon's presentations. You're not going to have time to static fire every single time they launch and land. But it is an interesting future potential of this vehicle, because we have probably seen what will become a very rare event. That's an exciting thing about covering these static fires. And we do have a large audience for that, which I want to thank as well, because we've had some support. I think I'll take the opportunity to thank those people while I'm on. which is starting with Matt Hicks, who, as somebody who works in demolition, the entire pad amount can be done in under 60 days. Anything more is crap. So what do you reckon, 60 days, Ryan, to get rid of all this hardware?
It really depends on what crew they bring in and how many cranes and how many stuff they bring in. The steel is not that thick, especially if they bring in they were to bring in a crew from, say, the Port of Brownsville that does shipbreaking, that like takes apart aircraft carriers and other things. I mean, they're cutting through multiple inch thick steel, especially like battleship stuff, or armor plating. The OLM is like nothing compared to that. So it shouldn't take too long. We'll see how big of the pieces they are to cut it. It'll take a while to dig up the foundation. It's a lot of concrete to dig up, a lot of rebar to tear out. We'll see how long it takes them.
Very
I'm
good.
curious myself.
I've got a related question for Alex here from Jeff, who asked, do you think they'll wait until 39.8 is ready to be completed and in use before they dismantle Pad A or Pad 1?
I don't see a reason to wait for 39A. No vehicle after ship 38 flies, no ship can fly from Pad 1, and there will only be one booster remaining to be able to. I guess 2 technically, but yeah, there will only be 2 boosters to be able to fly, but with no ship, right? So it's like Pad 1 will be useless essentially in its current configuration after this flight, which means why would you wait? It's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense to wait for 39A. 39A, it's the new configuration. It's for version 3 and forward. So that it's a whole different thing there. So yeah, Pad 1, I hope they can get into that reconfiguration as soon as they can, tearing down all of those systems, hopefully before the end of the year. Some of that is already gone. So yeah, we'll see.
I agree.
We'll see what
I
they do.
also would point out that it's not really me leaking as much as I like to leak, that we did a flyover in the last hour or so, because Max did
Oh, yeah,
put a
already leaked
photograph
before.
out there on X. Yeah, oh, did we? Okay, fair enough. But Max, I knew I was safe to say it because Max put a photograph on X in a helicopter with a dial showing a plane, which was weird, but that was kind of fun. So we've got a lot of great views of 39A, the very latest views coming up very soon. Members will get them today and tomorrow, because it takes me forever to upload. The amount of photographs that Jack and gang take are in the hundreds. So it will take me a while to get them all out there, but I will get them all there to members, and then you'll see the public video with all the cool highlights and what have you next week. So it'll all get public as well. But if you remember, especially L2, because L2 gets everything, that's a great place to be looking out for them later on today, all being well, pending when Max gets his folders uploaded for me. Brandon has become a pad member. Welcome, Brandon. Space Perp, obviously Space Perp, gifted 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Space Perp. Sebastian became a Red Team member. Dave gifted 5 Red Team memberships. It's not Garden. What a terrible username. I think Jack brings out that username. I should just leave it there for Jack. I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave it there for Jack when Jack comes back, so he has to read it out. Yo, here he is. I'm just saying, I'm just reading through the panel, Jack, and I was just making sure we thank some people for supporting us. So I've left the queue up there for you to go through, because one of your favorite usernames is there as well.
Thank you, Chris. You're so kind. You're so considerate.
You're welcome. Yeah, I do try to think in advance of what could annoy you. And that's not the support there. I'm not going to read it. I've said the name 4 times already. I mean, literally, I'm doing the job for you now, where I'm just literally saying that name several times.
They gifted 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you, Snot Garden, even though you have a terrible name. I say it every time. They know we're just joking around.
Indeed. So, am I relieved to go back on the bench?
Yep. If you want, yeah. If you don't if you really
Oh
don't
no,
like us.
I've got a Starlink launch to cover from Vandenberg very shortly, so I've got to get my Bandicam warmed up. I've got to get the crank out.
Oh, yeah,
Are you gonna do the tweet where you're like, it's foggy, or
Can
if
we
it's
cover
not
that
foggy, you're gonna be like, oh, it's not foggy. Wow, like just cover it. Just cover it.
As soon as the views come up from SpaceX, if it's foggy, I'm gonna go typical Vandenberg. And if it's clear skies, I'm going to go, wow, Vandenberg's having an off day. Look at the sun. Wow. That's what I'm going to do, Kat, I promise you.
Why, Chris? Why, Chris? What did
Because
I
East
do
Coast
to
to
you?
West Coast. Nothing. It's just East Coast to West Coast. It's a fact. That's how I'm there to factually report things, and I'm factually reporting things when it's foggy at Vandenberg. It's typical. There we go. Right. Anyway. Bye.
Too much Vandy Slandy in here. Thanks, Chris, for holding it down while I got my camera back up and running. Let's finish off some of the support here. I drive a TARDIS, saying, since Pad 2 is expected to be a workhorse for Block 3 launches, at least at Starbase, do y'all think Pad 1 will be rebuilt for Block 3 or Block 4? I assume 3 and 4 will be like, Starship 2 was, where it still works with Starship 1 pad systems for the most part.
My expectation for Block 4 is a stretch Block 3. And this partially has to go with some of the current stuff we've seen with Block 3 booster. Is I think they actually designed the LOX tank and the transfer tube / landing / boost back tank. They designed all that for Block 3 of booster and made a smaller methane tank. And that when it comes time for Block 4, they'll just stretch the methane tank and call it a day. Same thing, and then with ship, I assume it'll just be a stretch of the tanks. And that's about it. Maybe some design improvements there as they learn some stuff, but I think it's just mostly going to be stretching the tanks.
It's going to look weird. I'm here for it. Echo Deal, thank you for the support. Today on Wheel of Tests, spins giant wheel. I love it. Ethereal Swordsman, thanks for the super chat. They say, hang out with this stream up while watching Kilauea Volcano in Hawaii. Let rip a tall, angled lava fountain in another tab. Is fun. Nice. Gotta love the internet. There's a eagle cam in Big Bear that I like to keep my eyes on. It's fun what you can do with streaming video. Like, look at rockets all day. Internet. It's a series of tubes. Phillips Junk, thank you for the support. When life starts to suck, watch NSF. Thanks, bud. And Drunar, they say aluminum block fun to glue to Jack's camera. Hashtag Joe Bernard. But that would require like disassembling and modifying and a Canon R5, which they're not. It's not like modifying a GoPro. They're not cheap. I think they're still like $3,500. That would be nice though. Canon does make an R5C with an integrated fan, but this is a rocket stream, not a camera stream. We don't have to go down that route. So we're detanking the vehicle. A lot of that frost is probably residual. Hopefully we get into a test posture again. Did we see any cars go to the pad, Alex?
Not yet. I'm sure probably we'll get some visuals soon and be able to talk about that. There we go. So yeah, there's still cops there. Obviously, no employees yet. I will say it's very early right now, but maybe give it about 10, 30 minutes or so for the launch pad and everything to be fully saved for people to go out there, and maybe we'll see what happens.
We will see, and in the meantime, we'll hang out and answer some questions. We have a bunch of questions. Michael Mize is asking, do you think they'll keep the launch mount on Pad 1 for static fires until Massey's is fixed once the other mount is ready? No. I don't necessarily think so, personally. But this does make me wonder if, like, in the process of demolishing Pad 1, they'll try and reuse any of the mount hardware or anything. Probably not. Maybe as like a test rig over at Massey's. I don't even know how you would get the mount there. I don't know, Ryan. What do you think?
No, that mount is scrap. The entire thing, all of it. It's been battered
You should turn it on its side and put it in a rocket garden like a giant Stargate kind of thing. Adrian would love it.
I think it'd be cool if they saved the plate. That'd be kind of cool. But I think
the Star Factory.
I think that entire mount is gonna go bye-bye. It's all gonna get scrapped and just recycled or whatever they can do with it. But They don't need it for static fires beyond this. Massey's will be ready to go by the time Ship 39 is ready. Doesn't even have its forward section stacked yet. They're still working on the nose cone and payload bay heat shield in the Star Factory. And yeah, Massey's will be ready by the time that thing's ready for static fire. So they don't need it anymore. Well, after Flight 11, scrap it, get it over with.
Yeah, one of the things that I feel like it's not setting yet is the fact of how far away any complete ship is from being ready for a static fire test. Like, first they need to fully stack a Block 3 ship. Right now, as Ryan said, they're not even starting the stacking. Like, the only stacking, if you will, was putting the nose cone on the payload bay section like a month ago, right? And that was inside the Star Factory. They've not done anything inside the Mega Bay 2. In fact, what they've done inside Mega Bay 2 has been stacking a test vehicle for ships, which means they probably will go through testing of that vehicle as well at Massey's, well before any ship gets completed. So that means they need to go through the test ship, the test tank for the ship. Then they'll probably, complete the stacking of Ship 39. Then they need to cryo test it, which doesn't need the static fire stand for that. Then it needs to get the engines, which, mind you, they are Raptor 3 engines, so they need to go through McGregor, get, flight acceptance and
Qualified.
everything. Like,
Yeah.
exactly. They need to get qualified for flight and everything. Then they need to get installed on Ship 39. And then it needs to be closed out for ship and engine static fire test. Like, it's just so many things that need to do, right? So I put my bet on Masses being ready well before any ship is gonna be ready for any testing there. So we'll see what happens.
Part of the fun. We get to sit and watch the tea leaves slowly assemble in the form of massive infrastructure, or disassemble, as is the case for various parts. Okay, I see that the Vandenberg launch is spooling up. Let's wait for Chris to either do a shade tweet or a shade tweet. Oh joy. Gav Pike, thanks for becoming a PadRad member. Les537 says, wouldn't it be cool if the stainless steel could be anodized like aluminum? Maybe each ring a different color or a blue booster. So cool. That would be neat. Like, make an all black anodized starship, or an all white anodized starship, or an orange one. It's orange. I'm still excited to see what a ship looks like after a catch, after it's gone through re-entry heating and landing burn heating. The oxidation, I think, is the effect name that on the steel is going to be, I hope, if it's anything like what I think it's going to be, like anything like the top of a booster after getting hit by the Raptor plumes from stage 2, it's going to be really beautiful. Resisto Jet's asking, will Raptor 3s with Block 3 Starship mean any differences or changes to the static fire testing? Probably a lot. I don't know. This is a Ryan question if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be load changes in how quickly they're gonna load it. We've definitely even seen just with the upgrades to Massey's that they are upgrading how many pumps they're going to have. Oh, look, it's Falcon 9's creating the fog on its own.
Grumble,
Upgrade.
grumble.
They'll likely load ship a lot faster because currently ship load is like 45 minutes, give or take 50 minutes. I kind of expect it to get knocked down to like 30. So and booster maybe around 20 minutes or so. That's kind of where I'm expecting the loads to be, which is just nuts when you think about it. But we're going to have faster load times. Of course, the deluge is going to be a little bit different on Pad B for booster testing. It's still the same deluge over at Massey's for ship testing, but the timelines will definitely change because they want to load quicker and have colder propellant, especially for booster.
So excited for Block 3. Yes, Vandenberg is foggy sometimes, a lot of the time, a portion of the time. Nice that we have it in picture though. Starship D tanking on the right, Falcon 9 tanking on the left.